Right now, I'm about to tell you how to declutter and organize your keys so you get rid of all the random ones that you have no idea what they do and you only keep the essential ones. And I'm going to give you tips for ADHD. Number one, find and gather all the keys you want to declutter or organize, whether you're on your key ring, in a drawer, whatever. Get them all out and spread them out on a flat surface so you can get an overview of which keys are which. Do you have duplicates? Do you have certain keys that look kind of strange that you're like, hey, I have no idea, absolutely no idea what that actually goes to? You want to get an overview so you know what you're dealing with. And you might be able to recognize that some keys you don't need anymore. Right away, you might say, hey, I don't need that key anymore. And then you narrow it down to just the keys that you know that are essential and the keys that you know that are kind of iffy and random. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go around and try different keys, the random keys that you don't have any idea what they're for. You're going to go around in your house or apartment and try to figure out, okay, where does this key go to? Try it at different places, rooms, drawers, whatever. And then you're going to figure out what certain keys go to. And you may still have keys left that you have no idea what they go to, right? The thing that you do before you even go try to do this is you get a piece of paper and a pen, a notebook and a pen, a dry erase board and a marker. And as you go through and figure out where things go to, where these keys go to, and each time you find where a key goes to, you're going to write it down on this list. Because the worst thing that is going to happen is you go and you take a couple of keys and you try different places and you start walking back to your list and you forget it halfway there, or you forget it just when you get back and you're like, oh, I got to go back and try it again. And then after all that, you figured out which keys you can figure out. Then you have just the random keys that you can't figure out, and you put those in another location, bowl, whatever you want to do, to say, hey, these are still random keys. I have no idea what to do with, but now I have at least more keys that I know what to do with, and I can figure out if that key needs to be on my key ring or if it needs to be somewhere else. Now, the next thing you're going to do is group keys by category. So you have car keys, house keys, keys to a shed, keys to a bike lock, keys to whatever. Whatever you have more than one key, you're going to put it in a group. Now, if you have just one key for that group, then at least you know that that one key goes to that specific thing. And so after that, after you have all the keys in different categories, you're going to group them by frequency so that you know if you have a car that you use all the time and a car you hardly use, you at least know, hey, these are my car keys. This key I hardly use. This key I use each and every day. These are my two house keys. I know I'm going to use those frequently. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to figure out which keys are essential to carry. You don't need every key, even though you know what the key does or where it goes to. You don't need all the keys on your key ring all the time. You just want the essential ones. You just want to say, hey, I need this each and every day. The next thing you need to figure out is your duplicates. Do you have duplicates for all the essential things? House key, car key, whatever other key is essential, you need to have a duplicate for it. And you need to figure out if you do by putting them to the side and matching them up. Now, if you don't have a duplicate, that could be really bad. And also, if you have a duplicate, you want to keep it in a separate place from the original. Don't carry both keys on one key ring. Put it in a place separate from the original key. That way, if something happens, you have a spare and you're not without a key that you need. The next thing you need to do is see if you have broken keys or bent keys, keys that you cannot use anymore, and see if you want to keep them or throw them away. Sometimes you can take it to like a key place and they'll bend it back into shape, or they will repair the broken key. And sometimes you can get a spare key from the broken key that they have repaired. So the next thing you can do is you can color code keys. And one of the things you can do, you can put a little key cap, and that is a little cap that goes on the bigger part of the key. And that way you can see that color from across the room or see it on the key, and you know what color represents which thing because you've already decided that. So they come in green and red and blue and pink or whatever. And then you also can get keys that are a color all the way up and down the key. So you'll have an orange key or a red key or a blue key or whatever. I can see my orange key. I know what that stands for. So that's another way that you can color code as well. Now, before you put keys on the key ring and decide, okay, these are my essential keys, make sure you're not putting non-essential things onto your key ring. All the like keychains that look really cool and are sentimental and all this kind of stuff, that's great if you want to have one on there. But if you get to having 2 and 3 and 4 on there, and what happens is it makes your key ring heavy, so it always jingles around your pocket, but it also clutters up your key ring. So now you have to move all these different keychains around just to get to the key that you want to use. Now you might not have more than one key ring to separate things. You might not have one for your essential keys, one for your non-essential keys, one for keys that you hardly ever use. You just have them in different places on different key rings, and that leaves each key ring less cluttered and more organized. Now, after you put all your keys on the key ring and you're like, I'm done, I've got everything decluttered and organized on my key ring, I have just the essential keys there, it looks great. You need to make sure you have a place to keep your keys, whether that is putting up hooks somewhere where you can put the key on a hook, have a landing pad like in the front room. And what I mean by landing pad is a place that you always put your keys as you come into the door. Now, once you're at the place where you're like, hey, they're decluttered, they're organized, you want to go back and look at the random keys that you still don't know where they go to. But any key that you think that you can throw out, make sure that you don't need that key for anything else. Because if you throw out a key that you need and you figure it out later and you're wondering where that key is and then you realize you threw it out, now that you've figured out how to organize and declutter your keys, don't stop there. There's another video about why we actually hold on to clutter. Just like you're holding on to these keys that you don't really need, this is another video about why we do that and how to get rid of those things as well. Watch this video next.